The data is about a simple Major League Baseball players was collected. The dependent variable y is the batting average, and there are 5 independent variables x, which is x1 until x5. Using this data, we need to determine the best model for making prediction of the response variable. Refer to the concept simple linear regression analysis and multiple linear regression analysis. Lastly, we need to conclude about the findings of the data and explain the advantages and disadvantages about multiple linear regression analysis.
Scatter plot, x1 to x4 data have a positive correlation and only x5 have a negative correlation. Next is for correlation coefficient. X1 to x3 data have value are close to 1, which means that there are a strong linear positive relationship between x and y. Meanwhile, x4 data are close to 0, which means that there are almost no relationship between x and y. And lastly, x5 value are close to negative 1, which means that there are strong negative linear relationship between x and y. Lastly, for SLR equation, xy, y equals 0.183 plus 0.447x, x2, y equals 0.183 plus 0.991x, x3, y equals 0.183 plus 0.622x, and lastly, x5, y equals 0.183 plus negative 0.2x5.
4. Testing the regression slope. There are 5 graphs that I create from SPSS application that has been taught by my lecturer before assignment be given through online. I also calculate the data after using the SPSS application. There are examples of the graph in the slide that I create from y, s1 until x8. To be add on, I also do the 3.5 section, which is confidence of determination. By using SPSS application, I also build the table based on the data that has been given by my lecturer through e-learning. There are examples in the slide. There are tables that I create from y, s1 until x6 data. From the table, I use the R-square data in the model summary. As for the example, 7.7% of the batting accuracy is explained by using run score as independent variable.
Okay, next is overfitting. According to this table and diagram, R square is 0.860 and the standard error is 0.01748. This data is overfit because the R square is higher than the standard error. Since overfitting, a regression model reduces its generalized ability outside the original dataset, this overfit dataset cannot be used. For multicollinearity, we can see through the coefficient table, the tolerance for S1, S2, S3, S4 and S5 value are above the 0.100s, and the VIF value both for S1, S2, S3, S4 and S5 are below than 0.00, so it can be concluded that there are no symptoms of multicollinearity. Simple linear regression is a simple model which is the simplest equation for expressing the connection between many predictor variable and predictor variable, but it also assumes the independent and dependent variable are linearly connected, which may be not true. Thus, for multiple linear regression, the f and the theta's have different purpose. Multiple regression evaluates a group of predictor variable for predicting an outcome, usually for important event or behavior.
Now, I'm going to explain about 3.9, the best fitted model. The best fitted model according to the data set is simple linear regression, which is called as SLR. It is because it helps to analyze the independent variable and dependent variable detailedly. Moving on to the next 3.10, point prediction based on best model. The simple linear regression is the most effective model. It is because it helps to establish the relationship between a single independent variable and a dependent variable in SLR. In simple terms, it can be written as y equals to BO plus BLX plus E. The dependent variable y, the intercept and slope coefficient BO and B1 respectively, the error term and are all represented in this equation. Last one is hypothesis testing. These pictures are extracted from SPS software. We get 0.01 smaller value for the p-value, since x and y have a significant.
In conclusion, the findings of this data have been calculated using statistical package for the social science, which is SPSS. Regression also have been used to analyze this data. Next, the advantage of using multiple linear regression analysis is has the ability to determine one and more variables to the value, while the disadvantage is usually come when the data that we use is not incomplete data.